88.1 XFM Toronto Music Station. Also, another episode of Mic Time With Marty. I've got an accent coach by the name of Sarah Valentine. So, welcome.
Hello, and thank you very much for inviting me.
No problem at all. So, doing accents, what got you started doing that?
Well, it's a bit of a funny story, really. I started doing accents through necessity, really, because when I was little, I was born in Epsom in Surrey, which is in England, and my parents got separated, and I had this frightfully posh voice, frightfully posh accent. And we moved to a little tiny village in a place in Devon called Abbots Kerswell. And I very quickly realized that I stuck out like a sore thumb at school because I was like, oh, hello, how do you do? So nice to meet you. And the children were like, what's wrong with her? I don't know. Like, why is she talking like that? So I was like, right, all right, and I better start speaking like this. So I very quickly learned how to be Devonshire. So when I was down at school, I kind of lived this schizophrenic life where I was kind of like, down at the school, I'll be from Devon. At home, I had to be frightfully prim and proper because my mother was so strict. And then it kind of just grew from there. I made friends with this girl called Sylvia Rees, and she was from Wales, and she had a very strong accent. And I was just like, I love this. I was 11, I think, when I met Sylvia Rees, and I was just fascinated that people had all these different accents, and then it just grew and grew and grew from there, really.
Amazing. Feels like I'm talking to one of my aunties back in Wales.
I love the Welsh accent, me. It's lovely.
What's been the most difficult accent to learn? Because I do voice impressions. So what's been the most difficult accent to master?
I find learning accents really, really easy. And I always say the most difficult accent to learn is the one that I don't know yet, because obviously it's the one that I don't know yet, because I think like I was doing the South Armagh accent today, and I was getting stuck on a few names, and I thought, God, I wish I knew somebody from South Armagh because I need to be able to say this name perfectly. And so, I'm very I want it to be perfect. And so if I did have to teach somebody that came from a specific town or place, then I would, really throw myself in and absolutely learn the accent. But sometimes I'm just kind of, not necessarily winging it. Oh, hang on a minute. My alarm's going off on my phone to remind me to be in your interview. On my watch, rather. So I think it's just the accent that I haven't learned yet is probably the hardest accent to learn.
Have you ever had someone come to you asking you to do impressions of celebrities and cartoon characters?
I have a TikTok channel, and on my TikTok, I get asked a lot to do different impressions. It's funny because some people go, oh my God, you look like Meryl Streep. Oh my God, you look like Carol Baskin. I'm like, oh God, Meryl Streep to Carol Baskin. It's like, oh, I think I prefer the Meryl version. I get Alicia Silverstone sometimes. And then in terms of mimicking or impersonating particular people, I get Margaret Thatcher a lot. Can you do Margaret Thatcher? But I'm not really an impersonator. I mean, I'm sure I could. Like, I'm obsessed at the moment with, I don't know, in New Zealand, do you get Love Island?
Yes.
So is it the UK version of Love Island?
I think we have a New Zealand version.
No, I don't think you have Love Island New Zealand, but there's this show in England called Love Island, which is so addictive. I mean, I've never watched it before in my life, and I am just totally sucked in. I just can't even believe that I'm enjoying the show so much. I would never want to admit that I watched this show to anyone, but the characters on this show, there's this girl called Chloe, and she's got this like really, like Essex accent with a real vocal fry. And so as much as I do impersonations, like I like listening to people, and then I want to talk like them. And then there's another there's another person on the show called Lucinda, and she's like, really, do you really like me? Oh my God, really? And I just love, whenever I hear somebody doing an accent, I just want to know what that feels like. And so that's my obsession with accents, is that as soon as I see a person who does an accent, I have to copy them straight away. because I need to know what that feels like to talk like that. I won't do any accents of people of color, even though I do Jamaican, but I kind of feel that I'm allowed to do Jamaican in a weird way because I was taught Jamaican by a white Jamaican who was born there. So I don't know why I think it's okay, but I think it's okay. It's a weird one. But then I suppose people come from everywhere now. Like, you know, like you can have anybody can be, you know, black people, white people, green people, all get born in England. I always remember when the first Harry Potters came out, and Cho is one of the characters. I think that's her character name. And she was an Asian girl, and she has the broadest Scottish accent. And I loved that. I was just like, yeah, there's a Chinese girl with a good Scottish accent. I mean, obviously she must have been born in Scotland, or maybe she's just a wicked actor and who does a Scottish accent. But I mean, it was just sort of stretching the boundaries of what you could be Chinese, look Chinese, and speak with a Scottish accent. And I think that's the beautiful thing, is that, you know, obviously the world is becoming a melting pot. I think it's when people do, you know, I mean, I'm not going to do it, but you know, when people kind of do this Chinese voice when they're doing Chinese people, and I don't like that. I don't like it when people mimic an accent so that it's rude. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're going to do an accent, you do it properly. So if I have got somebody that's Chinese that has to speak English, and they've obviously just moved from China to England, then they're going to have a pidgin English type of accent, but it's about doing it in a way that's, in inverted commas, professional and not being rude.
So what gave you the idea to go on to doing social media?
Well, I actually started my TikTok channel as a bit of a joke. When I say a bit of a joke, I'd been watching TikTok all through lockdown, and I'd really wanted to do a video, but I was really scared to do a video because I'm like 50 and they're all young people, and they're going to be like, oh, get off, grandma. And then my kid was like, oh, you'll never have a TikTok channel, Mum. Like, you'd just be so rubbish. And I just thought, oh, you just can't do that to me. Nobody's going to tell me that I'm going to be rubbish. So off I went, and I think it was about my 4th TikTok video, and it went viral, and it was epic because it went viral to monumental proportions. I think it was like 1 million views or something like that. And I went from having, I don't know, I literally got like 1,000 followers overnight, but then I had like, I don't know, maybe 10,000 followers within a couple of days, and then before I knew it, I had 100,000 followers, and I was just like, oh my god, like this is crazy. Like it was just crazy. And I think, you know, I've really enjoyed being part of TikTok. I think it's my favorite platform out of all of them. You do get trolls and you do get idiots, but that's the world, isn't it? But I tend to have a really excellent fan base, and they are good, funny, kind people, and I just really enjoy being on TikTok. I get a bit when I'm on Instagram, I kind of feel like too much pressure. I don't know, like I just feel I can really be myself on TikTok, and I don't feel that there's any judgment. And maybe I'm just a little bit insecure, but I enjoy TikTok a lot more than the other social platforms. I post on other social platforms like YouTube and TikTok actually would probably be my favorites, because I can just be myself. But yeah, I think Instagram, it just feels a little bit too fancy for me.
So what was your reaction when you hit 4.5 million likes?
I remember when I hit 1 million likes, I thought that was just insane. Like, I'm just like, how can 1 million people like this? I think one of my videos has got like 5 million views, and that is just mind-blowing. Like, I can't fathom that. That's the population of New Zealand. That's what does my head in, is that the entire population of New Zealand have watched one of my videos, which of course is spread out across the world. But I mean, that's it's crazy. It's crazy. I remember when I was in New Zealand, I started to get recognized, and that was really freaky. Like I was just like, oh God, I don't know about this. And and somebody was like, can I get a selfie with you? And of course in New Zealand there was no COVID, so you could just do that. Whereas now in England I have been recognized about 4 times, and they start walking towards me, and I'm over in England because my mum has had a stroke and she's in hospital, and I'm just so paranoid about catching COVID. I'm like, oh my God, like I really would love to have a selfie with you, but can you just stay like way over there, please? Because I just cannot risk getting sick because of my mum, and because the only reason I'm here is to look after her. And so it's been really lovely, and people have been so understanding, because a lot of my followers who are like serious followers, I suppose, if that's what you want to call them. Followers sounds so stupid. I don't know what you can call. I don't want to say fans though, because that makes me sound like a total wanker, but I don't know what you call them, the people, I don't know. But they're so lovely, and they know that I'm here because of my mum, and so they're like, oh my God, I just wanted to say hi, and and I'll do a thumbs up, and they'll take a picture of me, and and that's lovely. But yeah, no, I haven't done any pictures in the UK because I just can't risk getting sick. But it's lovely. People are just so nice, and people are just, it's very weird to be in this situation just because I can speak in different accents.
So if you could change anything about TikTok, what would it be and why?
I would probably make it more difficult for really young kids to get on there, because I think that sometimes there's really adult content on there that shouldn't be seen by little people. I don't like stuff that's inappropriate for small people, and I don't like stuff that's going to damage their, like I have this thing that you can't unsee something. So once you've seen it, it's there. It's gone into your brain. So yeah, I would probably try to make it really difficult for kids to get on there. So
when it came to teaching accents, how difficult is that?
Again, I find teaching accents really easy. Like I once the student trusts me and they get where I'm coming from, the process is quite simple. I think a lot of people, if they're not actors and they're doing accent reduction, they're not prepared to make a fool out of themselves. So like when I'm working with some people trying to teach them the American accent, as an example, I make people do things like pirate noises. So I'm like, come on, we're going to go ha 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 ha. And so then at the point that we're going ha ha, where the tongue turns into like a ski jump inside your mouth when you're going ha ha, that's where the R for the American R starts. So if you were to go ha ha Roger Rabbit, then you would get that for the Roger and the rabbit to get the R sound. And so it's about allowing yourself to be vulnerable with me. I think that people feel very relaxed in my company, which then allows them to let loose. I make a fool of myself. I make myself look really silly, and then that makes them feel okay, and then they just get into it, and then before you know it, they're doing the accent that they wanted to do. And I think that a lot of times, they've been to see loads of different coaches and they've tried loads of different things, and then they come to me and it's like, oh well, actually I'm actually sounding right now, and because I've got such a keen ear and I'm so picky with when I'm working with an actor, that I can then really pull out the sounds that they're struggling with. And so yeah, I love teaching, and I love it when somebody's tried so hard with other teachers and they've never got it, and then I just come in and get it.
So what is next for you? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I was supposed to be doing this really cool course for accent coaching. So I'm basically self-taught, and I've created my own courses, and I want to learn IPA. I want to do this particular accent coaching course because I think it would be really, really good for my coaching career. I think that I'm worried that if I did it, it would maybe change how I teach, because there's obviously a proper way of well, not saying a proper way of doing it, because I still get the right results out of people, but there are, I suppose this particular course that I want to do is very, very specific. So I would like to do that course and see where that takes me. I would like to do more on-set coaching. Obviously the film industry around the world is kind of, not ground to a halt, but obviously because of COVID safety stuff. I mean, I coach most of the time with actors via Zoom and Skype and FaceTime and stuff like that. And I would like to go back to doing more in-person coaching and doing some on-set coaching. I really, really enjoy, sitting next to the director and you've got your cans on, you're listening and you're watching, and you can go out to the actor and be like, you just need to tweak this a little bit. And I think the relationships that I have with the actors when I'm working with them is really lovely, and they really trust me. So if I do go out, they know that it's not a judgment thing, or they know that I'm not like, oh, you fucking idiot, you don't do it like this, you do it like this, like I'm, it's about, I want my actors to be so amazing that when that performance is on the television or in the movies, that they're just shining. And I really love that. I really love that part of my job.
So, who has been the most famous actor you've worked with?
I've worked with loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of actors. The most, well, I mean, I don't know what's the most famous, I suppose the most famous actor that everybody would have heard of. And I didn't coach them as an accent coach. I worked with them as an actor. And that was Elizabeth Moss. She's from The Handmaid's Tale. I was in a TV show with her. And in that same TV show, I worked with Pete Mullen, Holly Hunter, Elizabeth Moss. The cast was stellar. I mean, I was surrounded by the most amazing actors in the world. And then there was little old Sarah Valentine, who was like, I was the only not famous person in the team. And to this day, it's still the best job I've ever had in my life. Like if Jane Campion wanted me back any day of the week, I would just drop my whole life and go, because it was the most incredible experience of my life. Okay, then.
Dream cast for a movie.
Oh my goodness, dream cast for a movie. Me.
Mm-hmm.
Meryl Streep, Robert De Niro. These are all people that I want to work with. Jodie Foster, I'd love to work with her. Kate Winslet, I'd like to work with her. Kate Blanchett, I would like to work with her. Sandra Bullock, I think she could be quite fun. Sarah Paulson, they're all girls at the moment. Brad Pitt, I'd quite like to, I'd like to be his girlfriend in a movie, please. But that's not going to happen. Yeah, I can't really think, but yeah, I'd like to work with all of those people, please.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could set that up for me, no problem. I'll leave. I can pack and go.
Yeah. If you can do the same for me with Jim Carrey, Ellen DeGeneres.
Ellen, I want to go on Ellen's show. That's in my 5-year plan. Ellen has to have me on her show this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's her last season, like she's wrapping up, so I need to go on her show, because I think she loves accents, and so she should invite me, because I love her and she loves accents, so the two, perfect match.
Well, my 5-year plan is to have my own talk show.
Well, I think you're going about it the right way.
Thank you. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for taking your time. Hopefully you become big, rich, and famous. We can do this again sometime.
I don't know about big, rich, and famous. I'm probably already big. I don't know about the rich and famous, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
All right, my darling. Lovely to meet you. Thank you so much. See you. Bye.
Bye.